country. So I'm pleased to introduce Professor Sand.
Thanks, Kate. Good morning, all. I'm Robert Sand, an associate professor here at Vermont Law School, focusing primarily on criminal law. I was a prosecutor for 22 years, 16 of them as the elected state's attorney, or DA, for this county, Windsor County, the largest geographic county in Vermont. In that role, I had many, many opportunities to use the skills that I learned here at Vermont Law School when I was a student back in the 1800s. To include how to read a statute, how to read regulation, how to use the rules of evidence, how to use written and oral advocacy to advance the strength of my position, the state's position, to highlight and maximize the weaknesses of the defense position. And since my office filed about 2,000 cases a year, lots and lots of opportunities to use those skills. And since most criminal cases result in convictions, and once an individual is convicted, a case proceeds to punishment and sentencing, we had lots and lots of opportunity to use the adversarial system to ask for punishment. And so my office handled many high-profile cases, and we were literally responsible for playing a role in tens of thousands of people suffering punishment, some of them for decades, some of them for the longest sentence allowed under Vermont law, life in prison without parole. But the important lessons did not come from the big, high-profile media cases. Sometimes the most important lessons came from little cases. So quick story, I know time is short. A woman ran a small farm in the town just up the river, Bethel, Vermont, and she had an excess of vegetables. So she set up a help-yourself farm stand. And she had the prices written in pencil on a piece of paper and a shoe box or a cigar box where you put in your money, make your own change, take your vegetables. She discovered that someone was ripping her off. So she decides to videotape, put a video camera in her help-yourself farm stand in Bethel, Vermont, and she posts a sign that says you are being recorded. Well, yes, you guessed it. Notwithstanding the sign, notwithstanding the camera, a young woman and her 6 or 7-year-old boy are caught on tape stealing vegetables. Of course, the irony of this story is that at the end of the summer, you can't give your zucchini away, but nevertheless, the tape went to the state police, and she got arrested for petty larceny, non-permissive taking the property of another with the intent to permanently deprive. And the case came to my office as a young prosecutor, and I said, this is a slam-dunk petty larceny. We filed the charges in court. The woman was brought to court. She had her initial appearance. My victim advocate then, who worked in the state's attorney's office, set up a meeting. The advocate, myself, and the farmer. And I explained the case, during the elements, and why we were going to win this case and get a guilty verdict, and indicated that the woman faced up to a year in jail or a $1,000 fine or both. And the victim said, I don't really care about prosecution. I don't even think this case should go to court. I just want the opportunity to tell this young woman how sad this makes me feel. That we live in a community and that I trust people in this community, and I want the woman to know that if she needs any help, I'm there to help. Well, that sort of blew my mind as a prosecutor. Nevertheless, the advocate arranged a meeting. And it was a meeting with me and the advocate and the farmer and the defendant. And we sit in a room, and the victim says to the defendant, I just want you to know how sad I am. I trust people in this community. We have to all trust each other. And I'm worried about you, and I'm worried about your son, and I just want you to know I'm here to help, and there are other people in the community who are here to help. And the defendant, the woman who had stolen the vegetables, who came into that meeting, was very rigid and nervous, understandably, relaxes and then bursts into tears. And talks about how hard it is as a single mom and the challenges that she's facing. And the farmer says, I understand how hard it is as a single mom. And she bursts into tears. And then the advocate bursts into tears. And then I burst into tears. So my victim advocate, who was a lot more attuned to humanity than I was, maybe am, gives me the nod that we should leave. So she and I walked out of the room, and the farmer and the young woman who stole vegetables spend about half an hour talking. And they come out, and I say, all set, and the farmer says, all set, and I looked to the woman who had been accused, and I said, all set, and she said, all set. Charges got dismissed. We never saw either of them again. Sometimes the adversarial system leads to justice, but sometimes other approaches can lead to justice as well. This felt like justice to me. This was restorative. This was a response that led to a strengthening of relationships and to healing. And that's what restorative justice does. And it's appropriate not only for stolen vegetables from a farm stand, but it also has a role in truth and reconciliation commissions in response to genocide. So I'm incredibly excited that Vermont Law School, the #1 environmental law school in the country, will now be the first law school in the country to offer a Master of Arts in Restorative Justice. And so students will be able to come here and earn the master's degree as a standalone degree, or they will be able to earn a combined JD and master's degree. And it will be fascinating to see how people learn not only that rule-based response to harm and conflict, but also the relational-based response that is at the core of restorative justice. I won't go into all the details of the 30-credit master's degree. It will be similarly structured to what Anne described to you. You'll be able to earn both degrees within the time frame that you would normally spend simply earning a JD. I know some of you have already expressed an interest. I hope to convert more of you before you're done. And I will be around, and easy to reach me, rsand, R-S-A-N-D, at vermontlaw.edu. If you have any questions, enjoy the rest of your day.